All right, today I have a 2013 Nissan Altima SV with the 2.5. It's the JF016E or the CVT8. Nissan designates this transmission as the REOF10D. And if it was a 3.5, it would be the REOF10E. And the transmission would be considered a JF016E, but it's also a CVT8. All right, this is used in the Nissans and used in the Mitsubishi. I believe it's the Lancer, the Outlander, and the Lancer, according to the research that I've done. Not much information on this trans, but I have this down. I have the pulleys apart, the secondary pulley and the primary pulley. We were getting codes on this. We were getting codes like a P0841 pressure switch A performance. I was getting solenoid codes. The pressure switch A performance code points to the secondary pulley. But what we did with this, the owner was doing some research on this. When he started having the problem, the car actually has 39,000 miles on it. It's not under warranty. So he had done some research that possible valve body would fix it. So I got a call from my wholesale account, and I was talking to him about that, and I said, that's fine, I'll try the valve body. Gave him a price on that with the understanding if it doesn't fix it, we probably should go further and overhaul the transmission, and that was fine. He agreed with that because the guy doesn't want to fix the car. So we did that. It did not work. Pretty much it felt a little bit of a delay in drive, a chatter in drive, a chatter in reverse. Sometimes you don't even have response from the gas pedal. All right, and I did find, which I think I talk about later also, the flow control valve, and this was jammed solid in the pump. There isn't a replacement like Transgo for the JF15E, which I have one on this bench. I actually just finished it, the CVT7. There is a drop-in replacement if that does get stuck, so you can use the pump over again. This one, I had called them and it will not work on the CVT8, so I actually ordered a reman pump from my supplier. All right, so I think from the low pressure was causing the belt to slip. The sheathing here is a little scraped up, so I actually also have a whole variator or pulley set coming, and the valve body, of course, we had done already. So I'll get a little closer and gonna go over the case, the pulleys. I'll show you what we got here with this, kind of like a highlight video. And I did want to show you also what I use. This I actually get from Nissan. This is the glue for the to put the case halves together. They say not to use regular silicone, I guess because of the high pressures. These things work at very high pressure, and they also may run a little hotter than normal. But I got this right out of Nissan. It took me probably about a week to get. It's probably about $60. And on it, it says Loctite SI5460 pink flange sealant. And the part number is 1369021. So, you know, there's other ones that may be comparable to this, but I used that on the first CVT7 that I did, but I think I'm gonna start using this. So I just kind of keep it sealed. I have a plastic bag because there's no cap for this, so I have the drill bit in here. I clean this out, and then I have plastic over to keep it from getting hard, and I won't be able to use it. I have to buy another one. Because that is, again, you know, a little pricey, and it's probably good for about 3 or 4 transmissions, so I want to make it last as long as I can. As soon as I get the parts for this, I'll be putting this together. So we'll go over the, I'll show you the clutches, I'll show you the pulleys. These pulleys come apart actually by pressing them apart. On the other one, the CVT7 I just finished, you know, you have the big TJ1 puller that I used, and I also have another tool that gets used with the pulley we have at the shop to release the belt, so get the belt off to get the pulleys apart. So I'm going to show you that tool as well. And I guess that's about it. Just gonna go over the unit here real quick, and we'll get started with that. So I'll get a little closer, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the main case of this CVT8 or the JF016E. Okay, and right here you have your input speed sensor. Okay, electrical connector. This actually separates from the main valve body. Okay, so your electrical connector sticks through here, and you do have a typical lock that they use on the Nissans to hold that in place. All right, this right here, there is a drain. This also is a drain, but there's also a drain plug in the pan as well. All right, on the JF015Es, this you would have to use this for the drain because there is a standpipe in the pan. All right, and your pulleys or your variators go here. There is a seal that goes here. All right, this here is your output speed sensor. All right, we're going to swing this thing around. Cooler return filter goes here, and I just wanted to add a quick note on the JF015E. I would recommend to change that housing. I think there is some kind of an issue with it because the part number did change, and after overhaul, that housing for some reason may tend to leak. That happened to me. I changed the housing with the new one from the dealer, and problem was solved. Okay, so on the linkage that goes through the case, I did want to show you again, these have these pins that hold the linkage, and if you're not paying attention, the thing is just going to fall out on you. Okay, so in here you have your reverse piston. Let me just show you this here. And right for the reverse brake, that goes in here, and you got some tabs here. You just line up with 3 of the lugs in the case. Here is your reverse brake. I'm actually changing all the clutches. I'm getting a clutch kit. There's a total of 5 clutches in this unit, so I think that whole clutch kit is about 20 bucks. So I'm waiting for that. I'm pretty much waiting for all my parts. All I have is the overhaul kit with the pistons. And here is your cooler return filter. Here is the seal. Actually would go into the case. So that's going to be changed. Okay. All right, here is the bell housing. Okay, and of course, once you pull the bell housing off, everything is exposed. You know, your final drive, your reduction gear, your support, you know, this stator support here, and underneath that, you know, you have your forward clutch, your planetary gear set, and the reverse brake like I just showed you. All right, now the reason why I want to show you the bell housing, I actually got to get my tool out of my toolbox. I want to show you the fill, how you fill this thing. I bought the special tool for it. Okay, so the fill on this is right here. You know, the bell housing is in, and this is it right here. Bottom of the bell housing. And I bought this tool to fill it from that tool company with all the European stuff, AST. So this was about $30. Let's see. Yeah, it's AST. I think their part number on this is ATF125NIS. And this is, I think they're located in Florida. No, you know what? In Colorado. The number I called was Colorado. I ordered this tool to fill the Nissan CVTs. I'm not sure if this works on, I think it works on the CVT7. I'm going to know when I'm done with this one. and we put that back in the car. And I also bought the tool for the, to fill, just not to get off subject here, the 722-9. And this is JF016E is the part number, because on the 722-9s, you know, they have that plastic standpipe. And if you kind of shove something up there to fill it, that tends to come, you know, tends to fall out, comes out very easily. So I bought that to fill the Mercedes units. Okay, so here is our bell housing, and again, there's the fill right there. Okay. All right, you have your typical final drive. You want to check the bearings on that. Here is your reduction gear. All right, this looks in good shape. I mean, you know, again, 39,000 miles, but bearings, everything looks good here. So that I can put back. All right, here is the forward clutch. We're going to take that apart. But actually, it'll. Okay, planetary set here, or sun gear as they call it. All right, that's what that looks like. Got some bearing, got a bearing here, bearing on each side. And of course you have your hubs for the reverse brake and the forward. The forward clutches on this actually are no good. And here is also the ring gear and molded piston for the forward, which I have. I'm changing that. Another problem that I found, or I think possibly could be the problem with this is the pump. I actually have another pump coming, and in the pump they have the flow control valve. All right, and Transgo for the JF011E, JF015E, Transgo has the drop-in replacement. I had called them to see if that would work on the CVT8. It will not work. All right, so this is it. This valve is majorly scored up here. This thing was jammed in here. And of course, if this valve is stuck, you know you get low pressure. That could be the problem. I would think the problem would either be, according to the research that I did, either a leak in the secondary pulley, which I wanted to get apart to see how those seals were, but again, I was honestly a little nervous to try to get that piston unstuck, because the springs are you know, so big and there's so much tension, and that thing would release with great force that I didn't want the, you know, the parts flying all over the place and hitting me or hitting a car or anybody else. So this is the flow control valve, and again, this thing was jammed solid. I couldn't get this valve out. I had to bang it on the bench constantly, and I finally got it to move. Then I was able to get, once it came out a little bit, a pair of snap ring pliers, and I pulled the valve out. But you know, it shouldn't come out that hard. And when I started looking at the valve, if I run my fingernail along it, it's all screwed up. So I got actually a reman pump coming, and the drive for the pump is a chain. All right, just like the other one. Okay, so let's take this apart. There's actually 3 snap rings in here. Let me get my scribe here. There's 1 snap ring. Here's the ring gear. Gotta get the other snap ring out. Keeps the ring gear and holds it up. And then the other snap ring for the clutches. And you want to be careful with the exciter ring, of course. And I do believe also that, I don't know if it's this, no, actually I think it's the CVT7. The company Berkeley Standard sells the forward drums complete, ready to go, but I think that was for the CVT7 I was asking about. These clutches are no good, they are burnt. You know, this one's not that bad, but these are all dark. So that is why I had ordered that mini friction module, as they call it. Okay, here is the support that the drum rides on. All the rings are going to be changed in the overhaul kit. Okay, so the primary pulley, again, it gets pressed apart, and you're really pressing it out of the piston. This is the part that's on there a little tight. All right, so first thing, I take the nut off, use my puller, my old school puller, to get the bearing off. That's this here. All right, once that comes off, then you'll get, this is the retainer for the 3 bolts, and there are O-rings behind those bolts, and this is the exciter ring for the primary pulley sensor in the back cover. All right, here is the sealing ring for the piston, and you just want to look at it because it's the seal is notched, so you want to just make sure those notches go together. All right, so after that's off, the exciter ring and stuff is off, I put the nut back on, and then I go into the press and I press the shaft out. Now I put the nut on so it can only go down so far and stop, so it doesn't drop out. All right, but then this will, let's see if we can just slide this back on here. That'd be perfectly straight. Okay, there we go. All right, and then this will again slide right off, you know, once it's pressed out, and that is held. And you want to, I always put like a box or a catch basin or something, because this is held, this has the one guide and the one roller that may fall out on you. So you want to be careful of that. You know, that goes right here, of course, the roller, and then the guide. And on the secondary, there's 3 rollers, no guides, but three rollers. All right, so pretty simple, taking this one apart, you know, for the primary pulley. Here is the chain. Chain is way worn out here on both sides, so I'm definitely not using this over again. Let's see, right here in the back cover is where your primary pulley sensor goes. Let me have that out. That is just your, looks like this. All right, now on the secondary, it's the same deal. Here's this. All right, this one is opposite thread, and then the gear and the bearing I pulled off at the same time. This has 30 teeth on it, and this step again, this step is going to face down. This has 30 teeth on it, but I think there are 3 different versions. I think it's as far as the gear goes, but you know, keep in mind that you can always take the, if you, this one has 30 teeth, and just say I couldn't get one with 30 teeth, I'd get one with 25 teeth and swap the gear. You know, it's that simple. I had to do that with this CVT8 on this bench. There's either 29 or 30 teeth, and nobody had the 29, absolutely out. Transtar had none, Berkeley Standard had none. So when I got him on the phone, I was talking to one of the reps, and he says, you know, I have a 30, so let me just send you that and swap out the gear. So I said, that's fine, because everything else is the same. So I believe it's the same deal with this. They do have plenty of these in stock with the 30, so I do have that coming, but just in case, you can always get one with a lesser amount of teeth, press the gear off, and install it onto the new set. This here sheathing is scored up in the here and in here towards the end. And again, same way. This one, you know, comes apart a little tighter. You're actually depressing the piston and stuff with the spring. So this one made a little bit of a mess with oil. Not that bad, but you are going to get oil coming out. And I did press this down. I took the snap ring out. There is a snap ring here, but then again the piston got jammed, and I could not break this loose, and this thing has such huge springs behind it and has force behind it that I didn't want to take a chance. So, I mean, I'm changing the set anyway because the sheathing is scored, the band is worn out. So I just assume leave it together. Okay. Here is the valve body. This valve body actually was already changed because of the code. I was talking to the wholesale account. This came from Berkeley Standard also, because it had the P0841 pressure switch A. I think it was pressure switch A range or performance, which points to the secondary pulley. It very well could have been a bad pressure switch, bad solenoid. So what they did want to do, with the understanding, if it didn't work, to go forward and overhaul the transmission, which of course we're doing now, was to put a valve body in it, clear the codes, drive it, and see what happens. But basically, it did the same thing. You know, pretty much when you have a leak, if it's in the primary pulley or something with the pump, you know, the computer's going to tend to blame the solenoid for that, though it could be the solenoid, you know, but that's usually why those codes show up, or the pressure switch, or the, you know, what happens is the computer blames the solenoid or blames the switch, and it throws those particular codes. But the bottom line is they are performance codes, and that usually points to something internal. This does have an external MLP. All right, on this one here, I did want to show you a washer. 3-tab washer goes here. So just be careful of your bearings and washers, which way they face, how they go. Sometimes they would fit one way and won't fit the other way. And I think that's really about it on this CVT8. Right, here's your typical filter, you know, small filter. Filter was changed too. And when you pull the valve body off, to let you know what bolts come out on the valve body bolts that don't come out are plain. They don't have any writing on them, and the ones that do come out kind of looks like a number 7. All right, so these come out, and the plain ones stay in. And on the CVT7, there's the number 7 and a little design on the head of the bolt that you really have to look for, because all the bolts have number 7s on them. But these are plain, and just the ones with the number 7 stamped in there come out. All right, and of course, before the valve body comes out, you have your linkage piece that hooks up to the manual valve, and your bolts, one bolt. Let's see, what else? I think that is about it. You got the 3 bolts to release the pump. You have 3 bolts internal that are, I don't know, maybe 6 millimeter, and you have one on the outside to release the pump, and that also has an O-ring on it. I think that's about it on this unit. And again, here is you got your parking pole in the back cover here, where the pulley set is. You got a shim. This is where the secondary pulley goes, and the primary didn't have anything there, but that has that shim there, so you want to watch out for that. All right, I think that is about it. Again, 2013 Nissan Sentra SV 2.5, designated as the JF016E, and one of the main codes we were getting was a P0841, and that is pressure switch A range performance, and again, chattering forward, chattering reverse, sometimes not moving, losing response from the gas pedal. So pretty much we had found, could be a leak in the secondary circuit, but I couldn't get that apart. But I think what we're dealing with on this, as far as the problem goes, was a jammed flow control valve. And of course, once you know that sticks, then your pressure is going to be way down. And this thing wasn't really slipping more when it was hot. It was pretty much all the time, you know, with delay, chatter. So I got a reman pump coming. I have a drop-in pulley set coming. The valve bottom is already done, so I got the overhaul kit and clutches coming. So I'm going to work on this. No, the only thing I have here is the overhaul kit. Everything else is coming from out of state. So the parts will be here between Monday and Tuesday, and the converter is going to be picked up and overhauled. And that's about it. So again, my first CVT8. These are going to be becoming more popular, and I will do a full teardown on the next one that we get, and do the pulleys, take the pulleys apart. You know, I'll show you in the press and stuff like that. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Oh wait, I did want to show you one other thing. One other thing. You have to release, in order to get these pulleys out, you have to release the belt. All right, so I have the tool from Transgo. Okay, that you put around, and then you clamp it. All right, you got bolts here, and then you got a long bolt that sticks up here. All right, and that gets used with this style puller. Okay, then you can either tighten the nuts down, or I guess you could tighten this down to pull up on it. It will release the belt, and that's how I got the pulleys apart. Once the belt was released, I took the bolts out for the secondary pulley. I got 2 screwdrivers under there, one on each side. I pried it up, it came right out. I managed to get the belt off around it, and that's how I got it apart. All right, so I didn't use that typical TJ1 puller like I use with the JF016E and you would use with the JF011E. I haven't done any JF011Es yet, just been getting the later style ones right now. So, okay, so once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.